everybody. I'm Anne. Today, we're going to be talking about 5 idioms related to time. Okay, so we're kind of relating this to American culture as well. Maybe you have listened to my podcast, the American Slang Podcast, and you just love the expressions and the content. And I'm just loving all of your questions about idioms and everything like that. So I want to focus on that. And also, you can sign up for my webinar, which I'm hosting. It's about the importance of the first 2 minutes of conversation. And we're going to be talking about questions that really spark that connection when you meet someone for the first time and why the 2 minutes even matter. Like when you're meeting someone, why does it even matter? And that energy that you create and the sense of rapport and all of those things. And then we're going to be talking about specific things about American culture that are so important to be aware of when you're meeting someone for the first time. Okay, and also I'll talk a little bit about my experience, like living in Spain, for example, as well in the webinar, and sometimes some moments when I learned the hard way about culture and some things that some mistakes, that I made as well. So anyway, you can find more information on my website about that, and the link is in the comments. And then, without further ado, I want to talk to you about some idioms that we commonly use about using time. It's all about time. So the first one that I want to go over is working against the clock. What do you think this means when you work against the clock? Well, imagine you have a deadline to meet, something like that. You need to get a project done by this certain calendar date. In order to get that done, you're working against the clock in order to accomplish your goal and finish the project on time. So you might say, oh my gosh, we have so little time. We're going to have to work against the clock to finish this on time. Okay, so work against the clock. Doesn't it? The image kind of creates this image in your mind of you're like fighting with a clock or something. Okay, the next one is just in the nick of time. Okay, so in the nick of time is the idiom. In the nick of time. What do you think this means? Well, let me give you a real life scenario. Let's say you go to the train station. The train arrives. You get on seconds, just seconds before it leaves the station. So you arrive to the station just in the nick of time. Okay, so hopefully you're catching this live just in the nick of time in order to hear about this idiom and start using it. Okay, so just in the nick of time is a really fun one. And let me see. Another thing you might say is like, as a teacher, for example, I arrived to class just in the nick of time to start the opening and to begin the lesson. Okay, if you're just pressed for time and you're running to get there on time. Now, maybe some of you listened to the recent American Slang Podcast episode with Yvonne, and he was talking about how time is money. And in the US, a lot of times people say this, and that's one of the things they might say to justify working during lunch or working over the lunch hour. They're like, time is money, meaning we must be productive and we have to think about using our time wisely so that we can get as much done as possible. And we kind of link these two ideas, like time and money, into how connected they are with productivity. Okay, another one is time flies. You can say time flies. You can say time flies when you're having fun, for example. And time flies when you're having fun really means like you're having this fantastic time with your friends, imagine. And you're maybe at an amusement park or something like that. And you're just in the moment. Everything is just fantastic. And then you look at the clock and you're like, whoa, 3 hours have just gone by. I can't believe this. Time flies when you're having fun. Okay, so that's kind of when you would use that scenario. It's like you would use time flies more if it's just talking about for example, my son, he's getting so tall, he's growing so fast. Time flies. Okay, so time flies it's more related to life changes, for example, but time flies when you're having fun is related to you're having the time of your life. You're having a great time. Okay, so those are some wonderful idioms. Another one is to kill time. So imagine you have nothing, you have a lot of empty space in your day. I always like to think about it at the airport. You go to the airport, there's just you've just been told your flight is delayed, okay? And you're like, "Oh, what am I going to do to kill the time?" Okay, so imagine you don't have your phone on you. You don't have a computer. You're just sitting like, "Whoa, there's all this time. How am I going to kill the time?" So to kill the time, you might buy a book to read, or you might talk to someone sitting next to you, or you might kind of aimlessly walk around the airport. So you might have to think of some creative ways to kill the time. Nowadays with our phones, it's the necessity to kill the time. I mean, we're never quite bored because we're looking at apps and we're chatting with people. But imagine you didn't have your phone and you had to kill some time. Okay, or you could just kill some time, actually aimlessly scrolling the internet. You could kill some time. Okay, so that's a good one. And then another one, let me reference here the list of idioms with time. Working against the clock, in the nick of time, kill a time. Oh, yeah. Okay, the last one was in the long run. So, in the long run really gets at this idea of like, over time, this activity or this decision that you've made now is somehow going to pay off in your life or give you results. So, let's say it's 2024, you've just made some New Year's resolutions. You want to make a lifestyle change, like something like, I now decided to start waking up at 5:30 in the morning and working out. So I would say, right now it's tough, but in the long run, I will feel happier. I'll feel better. I'll feel more energized, and I'll be able to accomplish more. So that's when I would use something like in the long run. We're talking about the duration of time and how it could help you in the future. Whatever action you're doing now could help you in the future in the long run. Okay. So I hope you've enjoyed all of these idioms related to time. And think about it for the IELTS exam, for the TOEFL exam. Sometimes if you use idioms to describe something, to describe an example that, it could be a really effective way to get a higher score on your speaking exam. It really helps you with fluency. It helps you just establish that kind of connection with the people you're talking to. Idioms can be fun. They show your mastery of the language. So yeah, I really look forward to looking at your comments and letting me know which idioms you have used or you've heard or you like. And yeah, don't hesitate to sign up for the upcoming webinar as well, where we will be going over some of the most common idioms used in daily culture in the United States as well. So I'd love to see you at the upcoming webinar, and check out any new kind of classes that I'm offering on my website, because I have some new group TOEFL classes as well that I'm offering like on Mondays and Wednesdays. So that would be great to have you joining some TOEFL classes as well. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for joining and watching the recording. Take care.